Hi everyone, it's Jennifer from Fiberflux. In this video, I will show you how to crochet a festive sheep ornament. This makes a cute addition to your tree and also the perfect gift topper for a knitter or crocheter you may know. For this project, you'll need a 5mm H crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and a tapestry needle. As an option, you can also glue your ornament with some craft glue, hot glue, or fabric glue. You'll need some worsted weight yarn for this project. I did mine in black, white, and green. You can also do the sheep's scarf in red or any other color you like. And I did my sheep in black and white. You can make yours in brown or any other sheep color you choose. This is a great project to use up scraps of yarn as well. So let's get started. Our sheep measures about 4.5 inches across, and from the very top of the loop to the very bottom of the scarf, about 8 inches, to give you an idea. We're going to begin our sheep by making the body part. This is the bottom part of the ornament, and we'll be eventually adding all of these other pieces to make the rest of the ornament. So we're going to begin with the white yarn and make the circle, and then we'll add the feet later. So to make the body, we're going to put a slip knot on our hook, wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop, bring the yarn behind the loop, reach in with your crochet hook, tighten onto the hook. Then we'll chain 6 to make a chain, wrap yarn around hook, and bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to make a ring to work all of our stitches into. So in the chain farthest from the hook, we're going to work a slip stitch. Insert your hook into the chain farthest from the hook, bring up a loop, then bring that loop through the loop that's already on your hook. We now have a ring. You can kind of open it up a little. If you hold this tail along the edge as you work, it'll weave it in as you go along. Next, we're going to work 12 double crochets into the center of the ring. To make a double crochet, wrap yarn around hook, insert it into the center of the ring, bring up a loop. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Then we're going to join to close our round with a slip stitch. Then we can move on to round 2. Now at this time you can take this little tail and pull it snug to close this circle. Okay, for the next round we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. In the first stitch, work a double crochet. Oops. There we go. In the first stitch, work a double crochet. In each stitch around the entire circle, we're going to work 2 double crochets. So that's 1 and 2. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet. So we're going to do this in each stitch all the way around the circle. Okay, I'm going to keep doing that and we'll rejoin in just a moment. So we're just coming up to the end of our round here. And then when we get to the end of the round, we're going to work a slip stitch to close our round. and then we can move on to the next round. So for the next round, we're going to pretty much do the same thing. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, work a double crochet into the first stitch, and then we'll work 2 double crochets into each stitch all the way around. Same thing we did for the previous round. So our circle is growing. So I'm going to go ahead and work 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way around, and we'll rejoin in just a moment. So we're coming up to the end of our round, and we just worked a double crochet into each stitch all the way around. So then we're going to join with a slip stitch to close the round. Next, we need to make a hanging loop because it's an ornament. We need to hang it. So we're going to chain 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Then we're going to bring this around back to where we started and work a slip stitch. And this will create our little hanging loop, okay? So now we're done the white part of our body. So we can go ahead and cut the yarn and fasten off. Just like that. The next thing we're going to do is add the feet to our sheep. So we're going to go back to our circle, and the feet are worked over 3 stitches. You can make 4 legs. I just did 2, and I wanted it to be kind of fun, so I kind of splayed them out like the sheep had sort of plopped down. However, you can do your feet any way you want. You can make them 1, 2, 3, 4, like your sheep is standing. I did mine like sort of like he had plopped down a little bit. So anyway, you're going to take the black yarn, and wherever you want the feet to be, just insert your hook. And again, these are worked over 3 stitches. So you'll want to plan a little bit. So 1, 2, 3. And we're going to take your yarn and tie it right on to the circle. Just tie it right on there, and then insert your hook back into the same stitch, bring up a loop. Okay, and then you're going to chain 1, and then work a single crochet in the first, second, and third stitch, just like that. Okay, then we're going to chain 1 and turn. Okay, we have a little gap here. It's very obvious when you're working with black and white yarn because everything shows on the white yarn. It's very a lot of contrast, so I just kind of slid my knot over a little bit. Then we turned it over, and we're going to work a single crochet in each stitch across. There we go. Then you'll cut the yarn, fasten it off, and you'll weave in that end, get all this stuff straightened out here. And then you'll just repeat that on the other side, wherever you want the other foot to be, and also weave that end in. So that is how you do the feet. You'll just do the same thing on the other side. We're going to make the head part next, and all it is a circle and then a little tuft of fleece for the sheep's head, and then a embroidered face. So with your black yarn, you're going to put a slip knot on your hook and chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the chain farthest from the hook, join with a slip stitch to make a ring. And you can kind of open up your ring and work 12 double crochets into the center of the ring. So 1, 2, 3, get some more yarn, 4, and I'm holding this tail along the edge so it weaves the end in as we go along. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, then we're going to join with a slip stitch to close our round. There we go. Okay, then this tail that we weaved in as we went along, you can just kind of give that a tug to close up that hole a little bit. The next round of our head, we're going to chain 1 and then work a single crochet into the first stitch, and then in each stitch all the way around we're going to work 2 single crochets. So 1, 2, next stitch, 1, 2, and so forth. I'm going to work 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around, and then we'll rejoin in just a moment. So we just worked 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around our circle, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch to close the round, and then the head part is complete. We're going to make the little tuft of fleece at the top of our sheep's head next. So what we can do is cut the yarn, fasten off from the circle part, and then at this point you can pull this tail to close it up, trim the yarn, then weave this part in, because at the end you can save all the tails for the end, or you can weave them in as you go. Okay, so just weave that end in and trim the yarn, just like that. Okay, so we have our white yarn, and we're just going to tie the white yarn on. I just inserted my hook, draw the yarn through, and tie it right on. Because this is a circle, it doesn't really matter where you tie the yarn on. You can tie it any spot you like. Okay, so next, reach back in with your crochet hook, chain 1, and then you're going to work a single crochet in the first stitch, just like that. And then in the next 3 stitches, you're going to work 2 single crochets in each stitch. So 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 2 single crochets in the next stitch. So it'll look kind of like that. Okay, next you'll chain 1, turn your work, and then work a single crochet in each stitch across. all the way to the end. There we go. And then also in this last stitch, you're going to work a slip stitch. That will finish off this end a little bit nicer. Okay? So you're just going to cut your yarn and fasten off. And then you can take your tapestry needle and go ahead and weave the ends in. Just like that. And then what you need to do is, once you've gotten the ends woven in, there we go. That yarn tail did not want to be threaded onto my tapestry needle. Okay, so then we'll go weave this end as well. Okay, now the head at this point is going to look a little bit funny. Just trim that off. It's going to look a little bit funny, almost like a mohawk or something. But once you get the ears on, it's going to look a lot more like a sheep. Looks kind of silly just by itself. But once you get those little sheep's ears on, it looks much better. So we're going to embroider the face. Let's go back to our other one, and it has 2 eyes and a little nose. The little nose is just made by 3 stitches, and the eyes are French knots, and I'll show you how to do both of those as well. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take a length of yarn, thread your tapestry needle. You'll be using your tapestry needle a lot for this project. Okay, so let's do the eyes first. Now, with French knots, sometimes I have to go back and redo them, especially with eyes, because you want the eyes to look just right. So I just threaded my tapestry needle, and I'm going to come up through the back where I want my eye to be. Come up, and then what I like to do is lay it on the table, take this piece that comes up and go around 1, 2 around the tip of your needle, and then reinsert the needle, holding this firmly, back down beside where you came up, not in the same spot, but beside it, and then bring it back through. Just like that. Now, alternatively, if you don't feel comfortable making French knots, you can use buttons or beads or something like that. When I first learned how to make French knots, my grandmother taught me, and I had to make a whole lot of them. She was very quick and could do them very easily because she had been doing them for a long time. But I had to make a whole bunch of them. So you could also do buttons or beads or something if you don't want to do that part. So I'm just doing a French knot for the other eye. Okay? And you can just kind of shape it up a little. Okay, then we're going to do the little nose. It's just a little triangle. Okay? So we're just going to come from the back to the front. When you're embroidering faces onto different things, it's good to know that the face will always have its own personality. So I try to not duplicate exactly what I did the time before, so that way that each little face has its own personality. So basically all I'm doing here is coming from back to front, and I'm just kind of making a Y, sort of like a little triangle shape for its little nose. Okay? So it'll look sort of like that. Okay? So now all of the components, and we can just flip this over, and I will be sewing or gluing, whatever you choose, this to the other piece. So we don't necessarily have to weave this part in. This part will be completely covered. So I just tied a knot, and I'm just going to trim the yarn very closely. So at this point, we have all of our pieces and we can start putting everything together. The next part you want to make are the ears. I've already gone ahead and made one to show you what they look like just by themselves. So what you want to do is, we can set this at the side. We're going to put a slip knot on our hook, and then we're going to chain 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. In the second chain from the hook, this loop here does not count. So 1, 2, work a slip stitch. Insert your hook into the chain, bring up a loop, bring that loop through the loop already on your hook. In the next chain, work a single crochet. In the next chain, work a double crochet. In the next chain, work a treble crochet. To make a treble crochet, wrap yarn around hook twice, insert it into the chain, bring up a loop. Yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops, yarn around hook, bring it through the next 2 loops, yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops. The next chain will work a double crochet, and then in the next chain, a single crochet, and in the last chain that we come to, a slip stitch. Just like that. So it looks like our other sheep ear. So then what we're going to do is cut the yarn and fasten off. And you can go ahead and weave the ends in on the ear. You'll do that for both tails. Just go in one direction. Come back in the other direction. And fasten off. Pull the tapestry out, snip the yarn. Do the same for the other tail. So now you have 2 ears. We're going to make the scarf circle part first. And I wanted to just show you. This is this part here. And when we put our sheep together, it'll have the tails to make the scarf, and then the face will go over top, and then the body will go in the back. So let's make this scarf circle first. What we're going to do is chain 6. We'll put a slip knot on our hook and chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the chain farthest from our hook, we're going to work a slip stitch. Insert the hook into the chain, bring up a loop, bring that loop through the loop already on your hook. Next, we're going to work 12 double crochets into the center of the ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so then what you're going to do to close this round, we're going to join with a slip stitch to close the round. So just insert your hook and just join with a slip stitch to close the round, okay? To make the next round, we're going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then we're going to work a double crochet into the first stitch, just like that, and then we're going to work 2 double crochets into the next stitch. And 2 double crochets into each stitch all the way around. So just go all the way around with the double crochets. So I'm going to go ahead and work 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way around, and then we'll rejoin in just a moment. So we're just finishing up our scarf circle. And again, we've put 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way around. So then we're just going to join to close this round with a slip stitch. We can break our yarn, go ahead and fasten off. So what we'll do is flip it over, and then this tail, I meant to say earlier, but this tail I held along the edge as I worked this first round, and that way the end got woven in as I went along. So that'll save you a step in the end. So you can just pull that very tightly to close up that circle, trim the yarn. Flip it back around. You can grab your tapestry needle, thread your tapestry, whoops, my yarn got split there. There we go. Just give it a fresh cut. And you can just thread your tapestry needle, flip it back to the back side again, go in one direction, come in the other direction, and then you can just trim that piece of yarn. And then we have a scarf circle, just like our other one. We're going to make the scarf tail next. So you'll need 2. So I've already made one. So let's make the other. We're going to begin by putting a slip knot on our hook. And then what you'll want to do is chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In the second chain from the hook, this loop here does not count. So 1, 2, we're going to work a single crochet. To work a single crochet, insert the hook into the chain, bring up the loop. Wrap yarn around hook and bring it through both loops. We'll do a single crochet in each chain all the way across to the end of the row. So single crochet, single crochet, single crochet. Let me get some more yarn here. Single crochet, single crochet. Next, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and then in each stitch across, we'll work a single crochet. That's all the way across here. And then get some more yarn here. There we go. And then when we come up to the end, we're just going to cut our yarn and fasten off. Just like that. So you'll have 2 tails. You can leave one of your tails intact because that can be part of the fringe. But you'll take your tapestry needle and you can weave in one tail only. Just save the other one for the fringe. It can add to the fringe at the bottom. So we're just going in one direction and then in the other direction for that. And again, you want to make 2 of these for the sheep's scarf, okay? So then what you're going to do is just cut. This is optional. Your scarf doesn't necessarily have to have fringe. You can just weave in both ends. But what I did was, there's a couple of holes down here at the bottom. So just insert your hook, bring the yarn through. All I did was simply just tie it at the bottom I did this a couple of times, so just tie it at the bottom. Just add it to some of these holes here. Just like that. I'm going to borrow this piece here. Just find some of these little holes at the bottom. We're just adding this yarn, just pulling it through with our hook, and then just tie it to the bottom. Okay, we can just make this our last one. There we go. So just tie that right at the bottom, and then what you'll do is once you get all the strands on there, make sure it matches the length with your other scarf. So it's about right there, and then just give it a little tiny haircut. Okay, just like that. So now you have 2 scarf tails for your sheep. So we're going to collect our pieces. We made the bottom of the sheep with his feet. We made the scarf circle. We made the head. We made the 2 scarf tails, and we've made the ears. So once you've collected all of your pieces and all the ends are woven in, then you can start to assemble your sheep. Now, you can do this one of 2 ways. You can either sew everything together or you can glue everything together. I'm going to use some craft glue. You can also use hot glue or fabric glue. I think it's called Fabri-Tac, something along those lines. So if you do sew it, I'm going to show you both ways. If you do decide to sew it, just cut a length of yarn and thread your tapestry needle. And then you can kind of just go in. This is one of our scarf tails. You're going to kind of position it like this, sort of like the letter A. I'll zoom out a little just to show you. So you can just kind of take a piece of yarn that matches, come up from the bottom, and go ahead and just sew everything on there, okay? And then repeat that for the rest of your project. I am going to glue everything. Because this is an ornament, it's not going to be going through the wash like a scarf or a hat would regularly. So I feel totally okay gluing mine. Again, you can use hot glue, fabric glue. I happen to have some craft glue. So the order of operations here is going to be, the sheep is going to be on the bottom, and then we're going to just put the glue. Just going to lay everything down. The next thing will be the scarf tails. So you'll put 2 scarf tails down next. Just like that. I'll slide the yarn out so everybody can see. There we go. Okay. So we're just going to lay that down just like that. Next, we're going to do the circle. This is supposed to look like the sheep is wearing a scarf. So this circle makes it look like it's around the sheep's neck. So just go ahead and position that right in the center, just like that. And don't push down too hard because all the glue will squash out on the sides. Next, come the ears. We're just going to kind of, you can kind of put the head down and position everything, but the ears are going to, once you get them glued, it almost looks like sort of a mustache, and that means they're on there correctly when they're glued down. Okay, so just glue the ears sort of like that. Looks a little like a little mustache. Okay, and then last but not least, we're going to glue our head onto our ornament. So you can just glue that right on the top. Just like that. Okay, now you'll want to let this dry thoroughly. I always like to let glue dry overnight. With hot glue, you can kind of just wait until it cools down all the way. But that's it. Our sheep ornament is complete. You can hang it It's very cute, and I think this is the perfect thing to put on a knitter's or crocheter's gift. So that is how you crochet the sheep ornament. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the red subscribe button to get all the latest Fiberflux video updates. Thanks again.